I dream of a day when madness will replace my sadness. Hi, this is Kathy. I'm going to be reading from Heaven's Journey to Life blog, Have You Ever Really Loved Your Parents? Part 2, Day 87. And there is also a Part 1, and I'm going to post both of the links in the video description below. Be sure and read those in entirety. The particular part that I'm going to read is where it's described how a child is existing within characters within their minds, of which has been passed down through generations of their parents and their parents' parents into the child's mind. And so when the parent says no, how the child is basically processing that into and as having a tantrum. And this is really assisting stuff here, so pay attention to it and read this and read along with me as I read parts of this. And that's why when as the parents say no, the child will in a way break down, because in their mind they already activated the memory character of their past relationship with a similar same item, already built up the energy experience in their mind physical relationship, which mean within their mind they already have the item. They just needed to now physically possess it. So the child built up their energies to a high, and when the parents say no, the energy suddenly, unexpectedly drop. Because in the child's mind, it's like in physical reality they already had it, but only in fact had it in their mind. And so the child interprets the parent saying no to them as who they are as a being, but the parent in fact only said no to one character of and as the child, as the relationship they created within a memory in relation to a particular item. And so this character already positioned in the mind-physical relationship, ready to physically materialize, manifest, would fight for its way through, into, and as a physical experience behavior, with this fighting manifesting the child into and as what is referred to as a temper tantrum. Simply tantrum, as the child, as the character, take that energy drop of the energy that went from a high to a low when the parent said no, and use it to mentally, physically, within and as the child, to attempt and try to manipulate the parent into getting, having, owning, and possessing the particular item. Now this is really interesting because I've seen this within my granddaughter Emmeline, who's almost 2 years old, where when we put him in a car seat, there's a fastener, and she's watched us fasten her in to that car seat almost every single day since she's been born. And so then the other day we brought the car seat in the house because we were going to take the liner off of it and wash it. And so she had the ability to sit on the floor and actually play with that fastener. Now she'd already seen us fasten that fastener so many times, and now she wanted to physically do that for herself. And she wasn't exactly able to do that as easily as she obviously had seen it being done within her mind. And so she became frustrated, and she began to throw somewhat of a tantrum. Now I've seen this going on, and I began to apply self-forgiveness because I've been seeing and testing this for myself and realizing that applying self-forgiveness with her instead of reacting is assisting. It soothes her. And so when I began to apply self-forgiveness, she stood up and walked over to where she was eating some grapes prior to her sitting down to play with the car seat. And the grapes were sitting on an end table here in the living room. And instead of picking up the grapes to eat some more of them, she picked up the grapes and put them on the end table and began to squash them with her fingers. And then she'd pick up part of that squashed grape, and she turned around and she began to write on the window with the squashed grape. And then she proceeded to take the grapes, and they were squashed, and she began to smear them all over the floor. And within seeing that, I saw how I had automated reactions wanting to come forth to tell her, Emily, don't do that on the floor. Don't make a mess on the window with those grapes. And I did stop myself and was able to breathe through that. And what was interesting was how cool it was to see how her physically participating and holding the grapes and riding with the grapes in her little way on the window and the floor was assisting for her. And she calmed herself down. And so it showed me how this process of how we want to tell our children no, because in our minds we've created characters, and then we of course pass these characters on to our children through our DNA and generations upon generations. But what this is showing me is, as I've been walking and reading the Journey to Life blogs, is how remarkable it is to be able to actually assist the child as yourself, as you yourself would have appreciated being assisted, to where it isn't just about saying no, and it isn't just about getting in trouble, getting spanked, or disciplined for something that you don't really understand. It's like a parent, or as an adult, wanting to have a cup of coffee and someone saying, no, you can't. Or you're hungry and you want to eat and someone saying, no, you can't. Which actually that happens every day within our current money system. So imagine every day being told that you cannot have food because you don't have any money, and imagine the tantrum that goes on within inside yourself as your physical body is hungry and it wants food, it needs food, it desires food to survive. I guess that would be enough to make anybody want to go rob a bank, right? And so it puts a perspective on everything that you're seeing and realizing that's actually that we're existing as, and how foolish the actions are that we are living as through our words, and how we discipline others, and especially our children, when our children have no idea why they're seeking and wanting and desiring an energetic experience that they see as joy within themselves. Yet we as parents expect them to know this, when in fact we've not even figured that out for ourselves. And this learning that is being taught through the blogs, the Heaven's Journey to Life blogs, is something that we must incorporate into our schools, into our educational system, so we can actually begin to support children, and in the process we'll be supporting ourselves. There's a certain thing that Emmeline has begun to say, because children are like little parakeets, and they say everything that we say. And I'm going to share a short clip of what she says, and she's saying, oh my gosh. And you'll see how interesting it is that we actually, to hear her say that was so, in my mind, cute. It was cute and it was funny, and I wanted to laugh, and I did. And I stopped myself and applied self-forgiveness for that, because I'm actually, anytime we react to a child, whether it's negative or positive, it doesn't matter, because it's an enforcement. It enforces them within their mind, within the characters they're becoming, as who we are, as who we have given to them, as who they are becoming, and it enforces them to continue within their mind to become that character. And so, in fact, that oh my gosh is a character. And so we've got to be diligent, and we've got to direct ourselves in self-honesty to realize the importance of not reacting within the first 7 years, especially of a child's life. So at the end of this video, I'm going to play that clip so you can see that as an example of how something that we see as cute and funny is an important point to not react to. Now I want to share a quote by Bernard Pullman. I allowed my children all things and made sure I am with them to guide them through it so that they can see for themselves if it is acceptable or not. All directive guidance is based on placing yourself in the shoes of others and to see if you would like to have things happen to you or not. One cannot prevent all things, but you can establish at this stage a model of communication where the child will feel free to trust you with anything. Therefore, one cannot be reactive at all especially in the first 7 years. When they are older, it is important to also teach them skills to handle conflict, that no conflict must be ruled by fear or anxiety. Breathe and remain here and respond with common sense. Bernard Pullman. Follow the Journey to Life blogs. I will place a link in the video description. Thanks.